A girl with horns escapes a facility, people explode, someone forgets how to wear pants, and somehow there's a beach involved. Welcome to the weirdest coastal horror story Japan ever cooked up. If you thought summer was for surfing and soft drinks, think again. Let's dive into the blood-splattered madness of not gonna say the name, where no one is safe. Not even your clothes. It all started with a quiet day at a super-secret military facility. You know, the kind where everyone's dressed like they're cosplaying generic lab tech number 4 and pretending everything's under control. That illusion died fast when the containment chamber opened and out strolled a naked girl with pink hair, invisible telekinetic arms, and absolutely no chill. This is Lucy. She kills people the way most of us swat mosquitoes, frequently and without a second thought. Security guards, researchers, even a poor guy bringing coffee. Everyone got shredded like Parmesan cheese. Heads flew, limbs did the cha-cha, and blood painted the walls like someone really hated beige. It was less of an escape and more of a rage-filled art installation. Just when it seemed like no one could stop her, a lone sniper with plot armor managed to land a shot. It didn't kill her, but it knocked her into the ocean. From there, she washed up on a beach like some kind of R-rated Little Mermaid, except with amnesia and no concept of personal space. Enter Koda, the soft-spoken cinnamon roll who wouldn't survive 5 minutes in any other anime. He and his cousin Yuka, who has a suspicious amount of unresolved feelings for him, find Lucy on the beach. But instead of the murder machine she was an hour ago, she's now a wide-eyed toddler in a teenager's body, who can only say one word. New. That's right. Deadly assassin-turned-anime mascot. Kuda, being both kind and stupid, decides to take her home. Yuka reluctantly agrees, possibly because she knows this will end badly, but is too wrapped up in her weird not-cousin crush to say no. Meanwhile, the people back at Murder Corp, aka the research facility, are freaking out and sending out guys with guns and 0 success rates to recapture her. Thus, the stage is set. A beach town, a confused pink-haired girl with a body count higher than a war zone, and 2 teens who are definitely not ready for any of this. So now there's a mysterious girl living in Koda's new home. And she's basically like a Pokemon that only says new and occasionally murders people without warning. A wholesome start. Koda and Yuka try to figure out what to do with her, because the responsible adult thing would be to call the cops, or maybe literally anyone. Instead, they enroll her in school. Yes, school. Because nothing screams, let's keep this under wraps, like tossing a possibly homicidal alien into a classroom full of unsupervised teenagers. Meanwhile, the military boys back at the facility get serious. They don't just send a squad this time. They send Bando. Bando shows up at the beach like he's in a war movie, immediately starts threatening civilians, and punches a guy in the face for breathing too loudly. The man's only redeeming quality is that he hates sand, which, fair. But back to Lucy, or rather, Niu. Since she's still rocking the cute but clueless persona, like she's applying for an idol group. She runs off and bumps into Bando at the beach. Big mistake, for him. He starts yelling, waving a gun around, and being his usual ultra-macho self. Then Lucy's real personality peeks out for a second and just casually obliterates his face. His arm? Gone. Eyes? Optional. He gets wrecked so badly the Tide probably filed a complaint. Still, Bando doesn't die. Because apparently, the only thing thicker than his skull is his plot armor. Instead, he gets hauled back to the lab to be rebuilt like a low-budget Terminator. Great. Now he's mad, and part cyborg. Meanwhile, Kuda and Yuka keep trying to play family with Niu, ignoring the obvious signs that she's the human version of a ticking time bomb. Yuka continues being jealous of everything that breathes near Kuda, and Kuda remains completely oblivious, likely due to years of anime male lead conditioning. And that's the calm before the next tidal wave of chaos. So Kuda's house has now officially turned into the worst daycare in anime history. Niu's still running around in oversized shirts like a budget anime mascot. Yuka's getting progressively thirstier for her cousin, and Kuda continues being as emotionally aware as a potato. But now, things get spicy with the arrival of another character, Q Mayu. She's a quiet girl living under a cardboard box near the beach with her dog Wanta, because this town apparently has no social services, just high murder rates and 0 background checks. Mayu stumbles upon the aftermath of Lucy's latest Oops, I Killed Again episode, and despite being a homeless middle schooler, she still has the survival instinct of a seasoned war vet. She immediately realizes something's off and keeps her distance. Smartest move anyone's made so far. Eventually, Kuta and Yuka find her wandering the streets like a JRPG side quest and decide, hey, why not take in another mysterious girl with no backstory? So they drag her back home, give her food, a bath, and probably more warmth than she's seen in a year. She also gets introduced to Niu, who, despite being the reason someone's currently blind and armless, is somehow still invited to the dinner table. Meanwhile, back in Discount Cyberdyne Systems, the lab guys are cooking up their next plan, and it's somehow even worse than the last one. They unleash a new Diclonius, Nana. She's younger, more innocent, and doesn't murder people on sight. Instead, she just wants to please her papa, the creepy head scientist Kurama, who raises red flags like he's waving for a runway landing. Kurama sends Nana after Lucy, which feels like sending a puppy to stop a bulldozer. But Nana's got invisible arms too, and unlike Lucy, she uses hers like an overly cautious librarian, non-lethal and full of second chances. She tracks down Lucy, only to find new mode activated. They fight anyway. Nana's vectors clash with Lucy's for a brief, high-speed battle that ends with Nana getting absolutely obliterated, like someone threw a doll in a blender. Lucy breaks her bones with casual elegance, like she's folding a camp chair. Then she wanders off again, probably looking for a snack or someone else to accidentally traumatize. Back at home, Kuta is still confused. Yuka is still mad. Mayu is bonding with Wanta like he's her therapist. And Niu? She's chewing on household items and occasionally switching into death mode like a bloodthirsty light switch. At this point, the house isn't a safe haven. It's a ticking bomb with terrible plumbing and questionable ethics. And the explosion? It's coming. So now Nana's crawling around like a crash test dummy on a bad day after getting absolutely dismantled by Lucy. Kurama finds her, because apparently his dad radar works better than any of the actual tracking tech in this show, and brings her back to the lab. She's still alive, somehow. Barely. Which raises two questions. 1. How? And 2. Seriously. How? Kurama, in a rare display of not being a full-blown monster, refuses to kill her. Instead, he brings in the mad scientist repair crew. Now she's Robo-Kid with trauma and telekinesis. Meanwhile, back at the beach house where everyone's pretending this isn't a horror anime, Mayu's secret life comes to light. And boy, it's not great. Turns out she was running from home because her mom was dating a guy who belongs in jail, a wood chipper, or both. Yeah, that guy. The one who makes your skin crawl the moment he appears on screen. Kuta and Yuka are horrified. Finally, a reaction that makes sense. Mayu doesn't want to talk about it, but the trauma's there, hanging in the air like a bad smell. Wanta, her ride-or-die doggo, remains the real MVP of this entire show. At school, things get dumber. Niu, still stuck in adorable but unhinged mode, runs into trouble. There's this classmate, your typical anime bully with too much free time and a face that just begs for a slap, who starts messing with her. That ends about as well as you'd expect. Niu switches gears, and by gears, we mean personalities. The Lucy inside wakes up just long enough to give the bully a stare so cold it probably shut down half her nervous system. No blood this time, but it's clear that if Lucy ever fully reboots in public, back at the lab, Kurama's dealing with guilt, Nana's getting used to her new Terminator body, and Bando, remember him? He's now sporting a fancy eye patch and a serious vendetta. The dude got sliced, diced, and humiliated by Lucy, and now he's on a one-man mission to settle the score. Problem is, he still thinks he's in a different anime, like one where angry yelling actually works against psychic horned mutants. He escapes from the hospital because apparently security is just a suggestion now, and heads back to the beach, gun in hand, vengeance in his heart, and no backup because he's that confident or that dumb. Back home, Kuta's memory remains suspiciously Swiss cheese-like. Anytime something from his past is mentioned, like the family he supposedly lost or why he can't remember key parts of his childhood, he just stares into space like Windows XP crashing. All signs are pointing to something ugly brewing beneath the surface. And Lucy? She's not done. Not by a long shot. The episode opens with Kuta, Yuka, and Niu doing the most anime thing possible, going on a shopping trip. Because obviously, when your mysterious house guest occasionally goes full murder mode, the only logical next step is retail therapy. Niu, true to form, gets distracted by shiny objects and boob grabs a random lady. Kuta has to apologize, Yuka's pissed, and the shopkeeper probably rethinks their life choices. Meanwhile, Bando is back. Sort of. He's now roaming the beach with his edgy eye patch and vendetta, like a bootleg Punisher, waiting for Lucy to show up. The man has all the subtlety of a car crash in a church and somehow still thinks this plan will go smoothly. Elsewhere, Nana, new limbs, same trauma, is sent back into the field. Kurama, trying to balance the roles of boss, reluctant dad, and guilt-ridden war criminal, tells her not to kill Lucy, but also doesn't give her much to work with beyond try your best, which is like handing someone a spoon and asking them to dig to China. Eventually, Nana and Lucy cross paths again. And let's be real, this is less of a rematch and more of a please don't break me again scenario. Niu is in control when they meet, but Nana isn't taking chances. She tries to subdue her gently, using her vectors more like foam noodles than deadly appendages. But then, of course, the switch flips. Lucy comes back online like a system booting into violence mode. Nana realizes very quickly that she's once again in deep trouble. They start fighting, and this time, Lucy's not playing games. She treats Nana like a practice dummy in a kung fu movie, throws her around, rips off her prosthetic limbs like she's unwrapping presents, and just absolutely ruins her afternoon. Nana tries to be all noble about it. I'll stop you no matter what. But Lucy shuts that down with casual telekinetic brutality. But the fight is interrupted. Kuta and Yuka show up mid-battle. Lucy, instantly flipping back into new mode like nothing happened. Kota, completely missing the flaming wreckage around him, is like, "Oh, new! There you are!" Yuka gives him that, "Are you seriously this dumb?" look, and honestly, it's deserved. Nana, barely clinging to consciousness, limps away into the forest like a broken action figure. She's officially out of options, out of limbs, and out of luck. Back at the lab, Kurama pretends to be surprised by how badly things went, while the other scientists continue being useless. And Bando? Still brooding by the ocean, waiting for his second chance to get clapped. Man's committed, you gotta give him that. So Nana's just finished getting her soul and prosthetics handed to her by Lucy, and she's now limping through the woods like a rejected Roomba with abandonment issues. With no lab, no limbs, and no backup, she does what anyone would do in this situation. Stumble across a house, and attempt to blend into normal society, while still looking like someone glued together leftover mannequin parts. Meanwhile, Kuta continues his hobby of not asking important questions. He brings Niu back home, where she immediately returns to her favorite pastime. Acting cute, breaking things, and occasionally flashing everyone because nobody in this house owns a belt or basic sense of shame. Yuka, of course, is still fuming. Her crush on Kuta is now at full-blown sitcom jealousy levels. She sees Niu getting attention and goes full tsundere mode, even though her love life is as stable as a three-legged chair on a trampoline. Her strategy is mostly glaring at Kuta, sighing dramatically and saying never mind every 5 minutes. So, progress? Meanwhile, Mayu, the most emotionally stable person in this house, which is terrifying, decides to take a walk and finds a stray girl sitting alone. Yep, it's Nana, now disguised as a regular schoolgirl with a bad wig and even worse luck. She introduces herself as Nana-chan, and immediately becomes Mayu's new project. Because Mayu's superpower is collecting sad people with dark secrets, like she's building a trauma-themed Pokemon team. Back on the beach, Bando is still stewing like old beef. But the wait finally ends. He spots Niu. He gets excited. Gun? Check. Grudge? Check. Intelligence? Optional. He confronts her, expecting to face Lucy the Destroyer. But surprise. Niu's in soft potato mode and doesn't even know what a gun is, let alone how to react to being shot at. This infuriates Bando, who was really hoping for a rematch, and instead gets a confused toddler woman babbling Niu at him like a broken Furby. He shouts. She stares. He points a gun. She sneezes. It's the most anticlimactic showdown in anime history. Just when things start to get spicy, Nana shows up, because she apparently has Bando radar, and stops him from killing Niu. She explains that Niu isn't Lucy right now, and Bando, in the only brain cell moment of his life, decides to back off. For now. But don't worry, he's still planning his revenge. Because if there's one thing Bando loves more than violence, it's dramatic monologuing about violence. Back at home, the cast continues pretending they're a normal family. Mayu brings Nana in as a guest, and somehow no one notices the mechanical limbs or deeply suspicious backstory. Kuta's house is now officially at max capacity for traumatized girls with violent alter egos. And at the lab? Kurama's higher-ups are breathing down his neck. Turns out, losing 2 Diclonius, injuring your elite soldier, and watching your secret mutant experiments get adopted by random civilians is frowned upon in the workplace. Tensions rising, secrets are brewing. And Lucy? She's about 2 head injuries away from waking up again. And when she does, no one's walking away clean. So now the house has evolved from a makeshift shelter into a full-blown halfway home for superpowered girls with unresolved trauma and spotty memory. Kuta's playing house dad to New. Yuka's marinating in jealousy soup. Mayu's the emotional glue holding everyone together. And Nana, well, Nana's just trying to hide the fact that she's built like a cyborg Mr. Potato Head. Nana is surprisingly chill for someone who was recently folded in half like laundry. She blends in, kind of. She calls Kurama Papa at every opportunity, raises eyebrows with her child soldier energy, and occasionally forgets that people aren't supposed to sense objects with invisible arms. Mayu, being the team's unofficial therapist, accepts her without question. Because if there's one thing this show loves, it's throwing sad, broken people into a house and seeing who snaps first. Speaking of snapping, Bando is still around, and good news, he now has an accomplice. Meet Shirakawa, Kurama's assistant, and the one person in the lab with the moral compass of a soggy breadstick. She meets up with Bando, gives him vague info on Lucy's location, and basically says, yeah, go nuts. Because nothing screams responsible adult like feeding intel to a rogue maniac with an eye patch and a vendetta. While that disaster brews, Kuta and Yuka take Nana shopping. Yes. Again. Because when you have a walking weapon of mass destruction in your house, the top priority is making sure she has the right size socks. Nana, seeing ordinary people and a peaceful town, starts to question her kill Lucy mission. For a second, it looks like she might just become a regular, slightly cyborg schoolgirl. But that dream gets drop-kicked by reality when she runs into Lucy. And this time, Lucy's not in new mode. She's wide awake and not in the mood. Lucy stares Nana down like she's deciding whether to kill her with vectors or just straight up slap her to death. Nana, fueled by equal parts courage and sheer denial, stands her ground. Another vector showdown begins, with invisible arms clashing like psychic lightsabers. But right as Lucy's about to end her again, Kuta walks in. And poof, New returns. Kuta, completely blind to the fact that he just walked into a battle between 2 genetically engineered murder machines, is like, "Hey New, wanna go home?" Nana, mouth hanging open, watches as Lucy just drops the fight and trots off like nothing happened. Her confusion is legendary. Her trauma is exponential. And back at the lab, Kurama's superiors are losing patience. Their top-secret Diclonius project is now officially a mess in scientific terms. They want results. They want Lucy dead. And Kurama? He just wants a nap and maybe one day without someone losing a limb. The stage is now set. Lucy's double life is spiraling, Nana's hanging on by emotional duct tape, and Bando? Oh, he's locked, loaded, and ready to ruin someone's afternoon. So, we open on a flashback, and not the childhood nostalgia kind. It's one of those flashbacks. The kind that smells like trauma and heartbreak with a side of, you've repressed this for a reason. Kuta is remembering a train ride with his little sister Kanai. She's adorable. Sweet. Also, incredibly dead in the present timeline, which makes this whole thing instantly uncomfortable. The memory's fuzzy though. Blurry edges. Convenient memory loss. That classic anime amnesia that shows up only when the plot demands it. Back in the present, Nana is still confused. Her entire purpose was to destroy Lucy. But now she's seen New up close. Harmless, soft-spoken, allergic to shirts. And she's questioning everything. Like, did I almost die to a girl who can't figure out how doors work? Spoiler. Yes. Mayu continues her side quest of being the emotional janitor for this entire cast. She feeds everyone, pets Wanta the dog, listens to Nana's moral crises, and probably deserves a spin-off series where she just lives in peace with people who don't explode others with psychic limbs. Meanwhile, Lucy's been a little too quiet. You can practically hear the plot waiting to drop a piano on someone. So of course, she wanders off. Why? Who knows? Maybe New wanted to walk. Maybe Lucy wanted to kill somebody. It's a coin toss at this point. Cut to Bando. Yes, he's still here, still angry. He hears Lucy's nearby and arms himself faster than a Doomslayer speedrun. At this point, he's not even pretending it's about justice. He just really, really wants revenge for getting wrecked by a girl with no pants and invisible hands. So Bando finds Lucy. And this time, she's Lucy. No stuttering, no giggles, no New. Just cold-blooded, ice-veined murder staring him in the face. Cue round 2. They throw down on the beach like it's the world's most disturbing summer vacation. Bando opens fire with zero hesitation and 100% overcompensation. But Lucy's not fazed. She dodges bullets, slices sand, and blocks everything with vectors like she's playing God on cheat mode. But then, something weird happens. Instead of instantly killing Bando, which, let's be honest, she could have done in the first 5 seconds, Lucy lets him live. Kind of. She tears off another arm, because apparently this man had one too many, but walks away. Why? Unclear. Maybe she's getting sentimental. Maybe she likes making him suffer more slowly. Maybe she just forgot to finish the job because her personality is still on shuffle mode. Bando, now down to mostly torso, lies on the beach and screams about vengeance again. Honestly, at this point, he's 80% hate and 20% duct tape. Back at the house, everyone is panicking. Where's New? Has anyone seen her? Did she kill anyone today? You know, the usual dinnertime chatter. Eventually, Lucy returns, blood-stained, exhausted, and somehow back in toddler mode. Nobody questions it, because asking questions would mean accepting answers they don't want to hear. Later, Yuka and Kuta share a quiet moment. She brings up the past. The trip he supposedly took to the zoo. The one where his sister and father died. But Kuta doesn't remember it. Or says he doesn't. His memory is a locked door, and behind it is a very large pile of emotional dynamite. And oh, it's gonna explode. So Kuta's brain is basically a haunted house at this point, filled with locked doors, flickering memories, and at least one murder clown hiding in the basement. Yuka suspects he's suppressing some really dark stuff, and she's not wrong. But every time she tries to bring it up, Kuta's like, huh? What trauma? Can we not? Classic anime male lead coping mechanism. Denial, and snacks. Meanwhile, Mayu is keeping Nana company, because that's her brand now. Emotional support with a side of awkward breakfast. Nana is starting to open up a little, talking about the lab and Kurama, calling him Papa, like a normal kid who definitely wasn't raised in a concrete prison by ethically bankrupt scientists. Speaking of Kurama, the lab has decided subtlety is for chumps. They introduce a new Diclonius, codename, number 35, also known as Mariko. And wow, if Lucy is a chainsaw, Mariko is a nuclear warhead with pigtails. This girl has 26 vectors. That's right. Lucy's rolling with 4. Mariko has more arms than a Lovecraftian nightmare on steroids. She's been locked in solitary since birth, with her limbs amputated and her emotions replaced by pure, unfiltered chaos. And now, the higher-ups are like, yeah, let's send her outside. What could go wrong? Kurama is horrified. Mostly because Mariko is his biological daughter. Yes, you heard that right. Kurama, the morally confused scientist, is Mariko's actual dad. Apparently, his wife gave birth to a Diclonius, and the lab was like, cool. Let's keep her in a vault for 10 years and see what happens. Kurama visits her, and it's awkward. Imagine trying to reconnect with your daughter after a decade of abandonment, except she's floating in a tube, grinning like a maniac, and plotting how to turn you into red mist. Peak family drama. Back at the happy house of horrible secrets, Nana starts bonding more with the crew. They take a trip to the zoo, which would be cute if it weren't foreshadowing disaster. You can practically feel the show going, enjoy the smiles now, kids. We're about to drop a meat grinder on your hearts. Lucy, meanwhile, is quiet. Too quiet. Because buried under New's goofy antics is the monster, waiting. The memories are stirring. And the closer Kuta gets to figuring out what he's forgotten, the closer Lucy gets to waking up for real. And let's not forget Bando. Yes, he's still alive. Barely. Somehow. The man refuses to die out of sheer spite. He's in a secret recovery ward, covered in bandages, probably held together by staples and duct tape. But his will to kill Lucy remains at rage demon levels. Oh, and Mariko? She's out now. Armed with her 26 ghost arms, a cute voice, and the emotional stability of a blender full of fireworks, she's being sent into the field. Target: Lucy. Daddy's little warhead has officially been deployed. Let's begin with a healthy reminder that the government in this show is basically run by comic book villains. They've decided that the best way to deal with Lucy is not more security, not actual diplomacy, but by unleashing Mariko, a literal weaponized toddler, who thinks dad means target acquired. So Mariko, with her 26 invisible murder tentacles and giggly voice, is airdropped into the wild like she's some kind of psychotic Pokemon. She's escorted by two poor souls in lab coats, who don't realize they're about 5 minutes from becoming meat confetti. And yep, called it. Mariko, now outside for the first time ever, reacts how any isolated murder child would. She instantly kills her guards just to test out her powers. Like, they say something vaguely condescending, and she goes, "Haha, okay, no limbs for you." One guy gets pulled apart, like string cheese. The other one doesn't even get a chance to scream. This girl makes Lucy look like a warm-up act. Meanwhile, Kurama is spiraling. He's got the emotional stamina of a burnt-out fax machine, and just found out his maniac daughter has been released on purpose. Oh, and the people who did it expect him to go supervise. Because clearly, the best way to keep things under control is by throwing an emotionally compromised dad at his unstable psychic daughter. What could go wrong? Back at Dysfunction Junction, aka Kuda's house, everyone's still pretending life is normal. Nana is officially part of the family now. She's laughing, helping cook, even wearing normal clothes that don't scream government prototype. Mayu continues being the group's emotional plug-in heater, and Yuka, well, she's still stuck in a constant loop of, should I confess my feelings or complain passive-aggressively until the sun explodes? But Kuda? Something's bubbling up. He's having more and more flashbacks. A voice, a face, a red flash of something awful. His memories are glitching like a horror movie DVD. Lucy watches him closely, switching between news cluelessness and her own icy silence like someone flipping channels on a cursed TV. And then we get hit with a plot detour bomb. The reveal of Kuda's past is coming, and it's going to connect to Lucy in a way that basically nukes everything nice about their relationship. But before that emotional train wreck rolls in, Mariko is already carving her way through the countryside. Kurama is flown out to meet her. She's all smiles. "Hi, Papa," she says, like she didn't just dismantle 2 humans for fun earlier. She even asks for a hug, which is absolutely a trap. Kurama, knowing she could vaporize him in 0.2 seconds, plays along. He smiles, talks gently, and the lab scientists watching are like, "Ah, look at the happy reunion." Until Mariko casually mentions how much she's looking forward to killing Lucy. Kurama flinches. That's his other daughter now, emotionally if not biologically. He's trapped between 2 killing machines who both call him Dad, and one wrong move means he's joining the limb removal speedrun leaderboard. So yeah, he's not having a great week. Meanwhile, Lucy senses something. Another Diclonius. One she hasn't met, but who feels familiar. Something in the air changes. The kind of change that says, time for a psychic slap fight that'll destroy several square kilometers of coastline. And sure enough, Mariko is already on the move. The hunt begins. 2 queens of destruction. 1 battlefield. And absolutely no chance of a happy ending. So, Lucy and Mariko, 2 psychic death princesses with enough invisible arms between them to start a haunted octopus cult, are officially on a collision course. It's like someone took 2 nukes, gave them daddy issues, and dropped them into a small town. Kurama, caught in the middle of this powder keg, is still wrestling with his life choices. On one side, Lucy, a test subject who grew up to be a mass-murdering time bomb, but occasionally reverts into a baby-voiced, pancake-loving gremlin. On the other, Mariko, his actual daughter, who was raised in a lab, has 0 social skills, and views homicide as her version of playing tag. Honestly, Father of the Year material right there. Mariko's been stationed at a welcome center of sorts, a heavily fortified bunker near Lucy's location, because clearly the scientists were like, what's the best way to protect the public? Oh right, nothing. They're trying to lure Lucy in. Problem is, Lucy doesn't take the bait. Instead, she gets approached. By Nana. Yep. The sweet, polite, rebuilt like a bionic Barbie Nana decides to go confront Lucy again. Because clearly, Getting physically obliterated once wasn't enough. She figures, if she can just talk to New, maybe, just maybe, Lucy won't turn her into human origami again. Surprisingly, it works. Sort of. Lucy hesitates. There's a moment, a flicker of recognition. Nana sees her chance, and instead of attacking, she begs Lucy to run. She knows Mariko's coming. She knows what's about to happen. She doesn't want anyone else to die, especially not someone she's slowly realizing might be just as lost as she is. Lucy, for once, listens. She runs. And that's when things go full anime Armageddon. Mariko arrives, flanked by armed soldiers, loaded with smugness, and ready to show everyone why she's got the highest kill count in preschool. And when Nana stands in her way, Mariko is not impressed. She starts flexing her 26 vectors like a girl showing off glitter pens in kindergarten. Except these pens crush bones and snap trees. The two Diclonius girls face off, and this time, it's no contest. Nana tries, bless her, but Mariko's a whole different flavor of terrifying. She throws Nana around like a ragdoll in a tornado. Limbs are twisted. Blood sprays. Nana is seconds away from being split into a fine red mist when Kurama steps in. He finally shows up, gun in hand, voice trembling. Mariko sees him and lights up like Christmas. Papa! Cue heartbreak. Kurama stares at her, and for the first time, he hesitates. This is his daughter. His real daughter. He abandoned her at birth. Ordered her to be locked away. But now, after all that, she's still calling him Papa, with a smile like she just wants to go home and play catch. He lowers his gun, and in that moment, Lucy appears. Yeah, remember her? She's not just running anymore. She's ready. Lucy steps onto the battlefield like she's walking into her throne room. Her vectors flare to life. Mariko turns, excited beyond belief. So you're Lucy, she squeals. Like she's meeting a celebrity she plans to stab repeatedly. And the invisible fists start flying. It's not even a battle. It's a psychic hurricane. Trees get sliced in half. Soldiers get vaporized before they can even scream. Mariko's 26 arms whip through the air like blender blades. Lucy's 4, though fewer, move with sniper precision. The two of them are evenly matched in the worst possible way. Complete lack of mercy, complete obsession with winning, and complete disregard for gravity, physics, or basic human decency. Kurama tries to intervene, tries to stop it, fails. Mariko's laughter echoes across the carnage, and Lucy, she's quiet, cold, like she's not even angry anymore, just tired of it all. But the real twist? Kurama's got a backup plan, a bomb, implanted in Mariko, triggered by remote. Yeah, turns out, the lab boys assumed things might go sideways. Because when you send a death child into the wild, the responsible thing to do is plant a nuke in her intestines. Kurama has the trigger. He looks at Mariko, and he can't do it. She's smiling. She's happy. She just wants her dad. For all her murder and madness, she's still a little girl. So he does the one thing no one saw coming. He hugs her. He embraces the daughter he never raised. And in that moment, he lets go of the detonator. We pick up right after one of the most awkward father-daughter hugs in anime history. Awkward not because it's bad, but because it's happening while both of them are sitting on a bomb. That's right. Kurama has made peace with the whole, my kid is a nuclear psychic blender thing and decides, you know what? Let's go out together. Mariko clings to him, smiling like this is the best day of her life, because for her, it is. For the first time ever, her dad isn't calling her a monster. He's not locking her up, not pointing a gun at her, not running away, just hugging her. It's tragically sweet, until the timer runs out. And then, boom. No last words, no epic soundtrack. Just a deafening silence where two broken people disappear from the world in a single flash. Cut to Lucy. She's still standing, a little bruised, a lot angrier. But now, more than ever, her mind is spinning. Her memories are fully unlocked now. Every single terrible, repressed, blood-soaked frame. And Kuta? He's starting to remember too. At first it hits in flashes. A train, a festival, his dad, his little sister. Then, Lucy. Not New. Not the cutesy voice and blank stare, but Lucy. The girl with the horns. The girl who used to sit under the tree. The girl who slaughtered his entire family and then looked him in the eyes. Yuka notices the change in him. She's trying to play it cool, but it's hard to ignore the fact that the boy she loves is slowly realizing he's been sharing a house with his sister's murderer. That's a hard one to walk off. Kuta, shattered but calm, asks to speak with Lucy, alone. And just like that, the final confrontation begins. They walk to the old tree. You know the one. The childhood trauma capital of the planet. Lucy is quiet. Her voice wavers. She knows what he remembers. She's not even pretending to be new anymore. Kuta sits. She sits beside him. And the truth spills. She tells him everything. How she was the one who killed his sister, his father. How she stood there while he cried and still didn't stop. How she lied to him when they met again. And worst of all, she doesn't beg for forgiveness. She knows she doesn't deserve it. Kuta listens, doesn't scream, doesn't run. He's broken in a very specific way now, like a cracked window that refuses to shatter. And then, he hugs her, because even with everything she's done, part of him still sees the little girl under the tree, the one with no friends, the one who just wanted someone to love her before the world turned her into a walking disaster. He says he can't forget, but maybe, just maybe, he can forgive. The peace doesn't last long though, because the military's moving in again. They've realized the whole send child weapon to kill bigger child weapon strategy isn't exactly working out. So now it's time for Plan Z. Storm the beach and pray. Lucy, knowing she's not making it out of this alive, leaves. Kuta chases after her, because of course he does. But when he finds her, she's already fighting. Dozens of soldiers, helicopters, bullets flying like confetti at a very depressing birthday party. Lucy tears through them, not with joy or rage, but with purpose. Every death is one step closer to protecting the people she cares about. One step closer to ending this for good. She's wounded. Badly. Back at the house, things are quiet. Nana and Mayu try to hold things together. Yuka stares out at the rain. The house, once full of awkward breakfasts and slice-of-life distractions, is suddenly way too quiet. Then, the music box chimes. The one by the door. It plays a soft, haunting melody. Someone's outside, and the screen fades to black. If you made it through the chaos and are still emotionally intact, you're a legend. Drop a comment with your wildest theory, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more recaps that hit harder than Lucy's vectors.